Okay. I couldn't figure out when my buttons weren't working. It's because I didn't have the Stream Deck thing turned on, so you push it, nothing happens. I was like, okay, I'll manually adjust the music. I don't know why that's not working. I'll fix that later. Wait, none of my buttons are working. Fantastic. Hey, everybody. Rough start, but hey, gonna be a great stream tonight. I'm trying something a little different. I'm actually streaming live on not only Twitch and YouTube like I normally do, but I'm trying out Instagram live at the same time. Everything seems to be running okay so far. I was kind of worried about running 3 simultaneous streams, so looks like it's holding up though. So I think we're good, and everything looks okay. We're in April, right? We just passed the fantastic holiday of St. Patrick's Day month, as we kind of celebrated it here on the stream with different Irish whiskeys. Now we're into April, so we got to do something kind of April-y, maybe Easter-y, if you're from that part of the world or believe in that. I don't know. We'll mix it up. I already have something planned. You know I do. Today's going to be a really good story, too. A Part of the World by R.M. Beristain. And hopefully I'm saying that last name right. I should have asked how to say that beforehand, but here we go. So if I'm butchering that, I'm sorry. I probably did. But I think it's going to be really cool. I think you're really going to like this story. I got a chance to kind of skim through it really quickly before the start, and it's really good. I like it. It's a dystopian tale of a dystopian future, as it were, and it's really, really good. Let me give you a little bit of information about that. Here's a little bit of information if you're on the Twitch or the YouTube streams. The book information is coming up there, and a little bit about the author. Hello there on Instagram Live. This is the first stream, Whiskey Wednesday, on Instagram Live that I've decided to do, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's looking okay, and everything's coming across all right. So we'll see, though, right? So about this book, the short little synopsis of it is, welcome to the United States, where privacy is a thing of the past and thinking machines control everything. For Dale and Camille, making a living in this total transparency society is hard, but trying to hide something can be lethal. Before the web was invented, oh, I see. Something got skipped. The author got split in half. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. So a little bit about the author. Software engineer with years of experience building back-end systems and databases and weaving original stories to interconnect them. He was there lurking online before the web was invented. He'll be here to welcome the singularity when it comes, if only through these pages. You can discover other facts through his posts on social media. Come by, say hi. He lives in Sydney, Australia with his lovely wife and dog. And then there's a link down below to check out where you can get the book if you like the part of the first chapter that we're going to read tonight and you want to pick it up yourself. So in Instagram, I'll leave a little link there for you so that you can have that as well. So I got to fix that on YouTube because it split the author in between the description of the book for some reason. That's weird. All right. Got to work on that. But yeah, this is going to be a really good story. Really good. We're actually going to do the first 2 chapters of this one because the first chapter was kind of short. So both decided that maybe doing a second chapter would be a good idea just to give you a little bit more introduction into the story and see if you like it and see if you want to pick yourself up a copy. However, it would not be Whiskey Wednesday without, that's right, the whiskey or the drink in this case. Is it going to be whiskey? Let's see. Boom. There you go. It's going to be Buffalo Trace Bourbon Cream. I've never had this before. I was actually in a store out here that we have called Bevmo, and it has like, you know, a whole bunch of adult beverages, if you will, and some other stuff that's in there. But primarily, it's like a liquor store, right? Just really big and lots of options, which is really cool. And one of the people that were working there recommended to pick this up and give it a try because she really enjoyed it. So we will give it a try based on that suggestion. And it kind of sounded April-y, right? I guess. In a way, if I can get it open. This thing's stuck on there. There we go. All right. And we'll get the pour cam going here. What's that on the bottom? Boom. Give you a little pour. What does it smell like? Ooh, it smells very like chocolate liqueur. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Whoa. Okay. That is coming out. It looks like Bailey's to me. Oh, that's very reminiscent of that chocolate liqueur. Maybe Bailey's. Yeah, kind of smell to it. I wonder what it tastes like. Oh, let's dip into that and then let's get into our story, shall we? Cheers for whatever you're drinking out there. It doesn't have to be an adult beverage. It can be hot chocolate or nothing or water. Doesn't matter. Enjoy. Ooh. That's dangerous. That's very good. Definitely the whiskey and the aftertaste there, which is great. Very sweet. Yeah. It's like Bailey's and more. It's really good. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Resist pouring myself another glass of that after that one's gone. After the stream tonight, got to get back into the booth and start recording on the audiobook that I'm working on right now, Matt's Magica by Daniel Georgiev. So that should be out hopefully towards the end of this month. And I should have another book, Gone by Morning by Linda Dennis, available sometime this month too. I just got all my corrections, all my pickups done for it. So hopefully that'll be out here as well. And Expedition by Rachel Cherie just dropped. It's a 20-plus hour sci-fi book, space opera, if you will. Really good. And it's the first part in a 6-part series. So that will obviously be quite a while in the making because each book is 20-plus hours. So I think this one was one of the smaller ones of the whole thing. But if you're into sci-fi, space opera, big worlds being created and that kind of thing, tuck into that one. It's pretty good. It was interesting because while I was learning, taking lessons, coaching to be an audiobook narrator, I was doing this book. So it kind of progressively gets better as it goes along because I was learning things and applying them on the spot to this book. So it starts off okay, but I think really by like the halfway point, I was catching on to some more concepts and really was able to deliver, I think, better. So it kind of, as the story progresses, I think the narration gets better along with it, which is kind of unique, right? So anyways, check that out if you're interested, but that's not what we're here to read today. Here today, we're going to read A Part of the World by R.M. Beristain. Here we go. We're going to go into the booth, and I'll meet you over there. I'm going to shut off this music because that's not going to set the right vibe. at all. So here we go, into the booth. I'll meet you there. Can't forget the whiskey on Whiskey Wednesday. Almost didn't grab it. All right. Looks like we shifted over on everything. There we go. All right. That is delicious. I like Buffalo Trace just by itself kind of anyways. Just normal, their normal lines of whiskey or bourbon. But that's really good. That's like dessert. All right. Okay, I think we switched over on all the things. So if you're having problems hearing me on Instagram, let me know. I think I fixed this where this isn't just blaringly loud now, as in comparison to in the booth. But if it is, let me know and I can dial it down. But I think we're okay. Okay. Also, as we go through on Twitch, there are ad breaks. So if you hear the Old Spice jingle go off in the background, that's our cue that an ad break is going to start. Just so that our Twitch viewers don't miss anything, I'm going to pause wherever we're at in the narration. Once the ad break's over, we'll resume with where we left off. Kind of a fun thing, too. Let me reset the counter here. If you hear me mess up, some people like to play this game where every time I mess up, they like to count the flubs or the mistakes. You can type in exclamation point flub, and that'll add one to the counter like you can see here if you're on Twitch or YouTube. You can participate in that. That's what that looks like. Hopefully that worked. And if you're on Instagram, I have no idea how to make that work on Instagram, so you can keep me accountable as well. I just don't have a cool fancy way to do it. But some people like to play a drinking game with that. I would say, I mess up a lot. Drink responsibly. Okay? All right. So, without further ado, let's break into it. We're going to go through the first chapters of this book, Part of the World. Here we go. Breakfast. First day, 7, quarter 2, A, 7723. The atmosphere inside the warehouse reminded her of lightning storms, prickly and ozone-filled. Camille and Hans had shut down the ventilation system on their way in, leaving the air inside dank, stale. Camille's eyes darted from her food paste to the shadows around them, to her friend. I can't eat anymore. I'm going to be sick, she pleaded through a mouthful of mash, but Hans plunged her face back into the high-energy ration pack. You must eat, or you're never going to make it. Hans sucked clean the last remnants of sauce on his foil satchel and scanned the cavernous building, lingering over the heavy gates on either end, but always landing back on her ration. Camille struggled, swallowing the last bits. Rehydrated roast, steamed baby carrots and gravy. At least it was tasty. Their Augo clocks beeped first warning. She's not going to make it. Hans's words reverberated in the emptiness of the warehouse. Hi, Radu Camille spluttered potato and gravy all over his denims and her expensive fake leather jacket. I have enough. I'm going to make it. The clock beeped its second warning and flashed a countdown across their displays. 10 seconds. 9. 8. Hans planted himself next to Camille, palms of his hands to the ceiling in a gesture, part offering and part supplication. Camille suffered the last little bit of rehydro meat in her mouth and jumped to her feet. The burning of the spiker was already twisting her insides. Their Augo clocks and the evacuation alarm went off in unison as she extended her arms to mimic Hans's position. A distant explosion shook the warehouse, followed by a mighty bash against one of the reinforced doors. Its top hinge gave way. The other two rattled. Speaker-distorted shouts bellowed through the PA system, but Camille had her hands full, fighting the urge to regurgitate and keeping her breathing under control. In, out, in, out. Her heart wanted to jump her brain through her ears, but she wasn't prepared to budge. In the distance, the device activated. Breathe in, breathe out. One is the thought that binds us, Camille heard Hans mutter. She didn't need to hear more to recognize it. Always repeated the same thing, a homebrew mantra to hone his mind for the upcoming surge. Another bash formed spiderweb cracks on the concrete doorframe. Aware she was drifting, Camille pushed her thoughts aside and mustered all the willpower she had, forcing out every other idea. One are the gods in heaven with their demons below. Breathe in. A final blow of the battering ram sent the door flying across the warehouse, centimeters over Hans's head. Camille flinched, but managed to maintain concentration. The machines burst in with efficient violence she'd never witnessed before. Mathematical, agile, too fast. Camille knew Hans was right. She wouldn't make it. One be the flesh and the stone, Hans continued chanting. One is the thought that binds us. Out. In. A wire crossed the room from the shadows, and the tip pierced her forearm. Then the world turned to light. The light turned to pain, and pain became the world. And then the world was black. Out. .01, third day, 09, quarter 2, A, 7723. Incheon. Welcome to the United States. Dale watched the marble sign hang from the dome ceiling like a chandelier, and his heart rushed when he saw the smaller plate below it announcing Incheon Airport, Unit Seoul. He raised his sunglasses to look at the stadium-sized place without the augmented overlay. 6 stories down, human rivers flowed from a dozen airplane terminals into neat lines, feeding the immigration booths at the far end. The state maintained 2 ingress points on every continent, and Unit Seoul's was their 3rd largest overall. The torrents of people parted around a concrete island in the shape of a seed, crowned by 2 asymmetric flagpoles directly under the welcome sign. The taller pole flew a silk rectangle that flapped gently against unseen winds, its pearly background pierced by a green disk in the middle, with a smaller red disk at the lower tangent. The unified flag. Dale focused on the phrase, unified when stride, written across the second banner in bold letters. Their funny lingo always made him smile. Yep, I'm here all right. He tingled with the wonder and optimism of a tourist on their first trip overseas and a chaser of dread. Midway into his 30s and starting over from scratch in the bizarre realm of the state, what was he thinking, emigrating so far away from home? Then again, who was there to notice? He tried picking out foreigners from the locals and failed. Every natural and engineered color of skin, eyes, and hair was represented, including bizarre displays he'd never find even on the link. Any of them might have come from another planet. There was that group of men gathered around one of the humanoid self-directed systems that unified people called Hoids. They bent their arms at the elbow, wrists twisting as though with the turning of a key, in a strange salute to the machine. Near them, a young woman in golden metallic dreadlocks watched him back with fiery eyes too large by half, hot pink by the pupil, and mauve on the outer rim. Such outrageous body mods were illegal back in the southwestern territories, where he came from. Territorians never outgrew their distrust for the Chimera after the attacks. However, while not an anything-goes place, the United States had much more relaxed laws by leaps and bounds. Dale slapped his sunnies back on and engaged scan and tag mode. The travelers around him sprouted black rectangles over their heads, each displaying a person's public handle and as much information as they had made available. Places of origin, titles, mood, the occasional outreach to potential mates. Almost everyone had one, which made the ones who didn't all the more noticeable, given the glasshouse policy enforced in the unified state. Precious few in the SWT suppressed their data. So thoroughly, unless they worked for the government or were filthy rich. Here, it should be unthinkable. There were subtler differences, too. For instance, the tags revealed that foreigners wore clunkier and more outdated gear than the locals, like his thick-rimmed sunglasses. I better stop procrastinating and get on with it. A sensory smorgasbord greeted him when he reached the ground level. Smells alone constituted a world of their own. The subtle jasmine of ambient freshener, huffs of disinfectant, plants, lots of them. It reeked of perfumes, colognes, and body odors. The climate control struggled to cool the crowded area. His sunnies marked a balmy 30°C, San Francisco. Climate control struggled to cool the crowded area. His sunnies marked a balmy 30°C. San Francisco, his city of origin, was one of the hottest, most crowded cities in the SWT, yet he didn't remember anywhere he'd smelled so much sweat. He used his 190-centimeter height to crane his neck above the pack to reach fresher air. The crowd moved with a purpose that the Ago only half explained. Unified people radiated accountedness. Radiated a countedness Dale couldn't place a finger on. That's not that word. Let me try that again. Flub, if you're keeping track. Unified people radiated a contentedness Dale couldn't place a finger on, even those who talked to unseen things and grasped invisible items midair. He followed his Ago line, a solid yellow path, punctuated ever so often by blinking arrowheads, to the edge of the concourse and the nearest immigration booths, moving on autopilot until the line stopped as he passed before a warning. All communications blocked inside customs. A glance to the Ago confirmed he had enough time for a quick shout to the folks. They'd be waiting to know his flight had cleared the raging Cat 6 hurricane bearing down on Frisco from Baja California when he departed. He fished the bulky control bracelet from under his sleeve and made the call. A rectangular screen opened midair, filled the edge to edge with his mother's face beaming at him. In the background, his father came to sit on the sofa with the grace of a large sack of coffee beans. "Mom, Dad, I'm here." "Dale, sweetheart, your dad and I are so proud of you." Her eyes disappeared behind a curtain of wrinkles as she smiled and shuffled aside to allow a view of the old man into the picture. "You cleared the hurricane. Good, good. How was the trip, son?" Dad struggled to fight the grin overtaking his white, stubbled face. "You know this suborbital jazz, already landing before I knew it started. The hurricane was still very far away, and planes go almost straight up like rockets, slipped way above it. How about you? Has it hit you yet?" Dad wiped his hands repeatedly over his belly. "No, the storm made landfall further south than expected. It'll get here as a Cat 1. We'll be fine." "Did you cross over yet?" Mom's voice needled Dale with the sudden urge to turn back, scrap the whole thing, and return home. But then again, the reason for migrating had been to escape the economic stagnation of the territories and its dearth of opportunities to help them out. His parents cast anxious glances at the queue behind him, waiting for a reply. "No, Mom, I haven't crossed yet. I wanted to let you guys know I touched down, but still have to go through customs. I'll let you know. Gotta hang up now. Love you both. Ewan, as they say here." "Bye, honey. Good luck. Call us back. I love you." His mother squeezed in before the comm link terminated. Dale came back to reality, next in line at the edge of a long row of doors, and the officer on the left boot motioned him to approach. Dale removed the sunglasses, looking for a tray to pass his belongings through the metal detector. Found neither. The officer motioned Dale closer again. "Don't worry," he pointed at the sunnies. "Scanners see right through those things. You don't need to remove anything else either."
When cleared you for dangerous items as you stepped through the plane hatch. You're standing at a unified state citizen's gate. Are you a citizen or legal resident?
Yes, croaked Dale. I have a Unity.
The officer indicated a spot on the floor for Dale to stand and asked him to place both hands on the podium and stare straight into the screen. It came to life with a litany of data: his full name, height, weight, genetic profile, and medical highlights, the single one of note being the old hormone replacement therapy. Dale knew it was irrational, but the last item always made him self-conscious. The officer didn't seem to notice or care. The process took less than 17 seconds before the green and copper holocube, representing his unified number of identification tag, leapt from the screen onto his Ago. 29 and change months toiling first day to sixth day to obtain it. But Dale hardly glanced. The cube meant nothing to anyone except the artificial intelligences dispassionately monitoring people's comings and goings. Its real significance was the confirmation that all data points matched his paperwork and the DNA samples they made him submit during his application. The state acknowledged Dale's arrival and inaugurated his very own official ledger to track him up to the last moment of his life. The screen went dark again, and he was in Unified.
Welcome to the Unified State, confirmed the officer. Always nice to receive new citizens joining NOS. You may proceed ahead.
The end of Chapter 2. So what'd you guys think? Did you like it so far? I think it's a super strong start to a dystopian future story, and the world building already is fantastic. It definitely makes me want to know more about it, and kind of piecemealing some of that information to us already is, I think, done pretty masterfully so far. Like, that's good. It makes me want to know more, but I don't know too much. Like, he didn't bog me down with a lot of stuff at first, you know. It felt really good. I like this. And I'm a sucker for, like, cyberpunk and dystopian era kind of stuff anyways, so I think I was going to dig it. And my IG might have frozen. Well, maybe they didn't get the story. My apologies if that happened. I'll have to figure out how that works. We tried, right? We tried. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hey, Hearthside. He's joining us today. I missed him as he came in there. Another fantastic audiobook narrator and streamer here on Twitch. He was live this morning reading us some horror tales. They're pretty good. I liked it. I liked the story so far. I didn't get to talk back and forth a lot because I was in a day job meeting at the time too. So, but I listened to a lot of it. Pretty good. Oh, hey, look at that! And we beat the ad. So when we come back from ad, we'll be at the desk. Okay. All right. For everybody else, we're just gonna skedat over to the desk. How does that sound? And we'll go from there. Maybe if I can find the button. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it says it's... Oh, maybe it kicked it back on? I don't know. I might be on Instagram Live again now. Whatever. I'm going to have to mess with that thing, and it might be there might be a better way to throw the stream over to that format. I don't know. Anyways. Oh, hey, there we go. We got Mr. RM in the chat there. Man, what time is it in your part of Australia? It's noon in Australia, so you're having a coffee. Oh, okay, cool. Right on. Answered my question right as I was reading it. Welcome, welcome. So while we're live here just for a little bit longer, if you have any questions for the author, they're here. Not my smoothest line, I admit. Oh, it was probably all me. Don't worry about it. I tongue-tie the crap out of myself, which is like, it's one of those things when you're reading live is like that extra level of like, I think, like pressure to read it. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, don't mess up. And then what do? You mess up. And the advantage that we have when we're in the booth recording audiobooks is nobody hears any of those mess ups. They just hear the clean Everything was perfect. He just read it straight through, right? Nope. But fantastic story. So I really, really enjoyed it. As I was saying earlier, hopefully you saw, I think everything was working right on the normal streams. And we might be back on Instagram. And I think our ad break on Twitch may be over. So everybody is probably back. Okay. Welcome back. So we actually beat the ad timer this time, which is insane. Normally, we definitely don't do that. That means the story had to be pretty good if we're just rolling through it, right? Because usually we're not that far through. Yeah, it looks like the IG froze again. It just can't keep up. It says it's good on my end, but I'm looking at like the preview. Whatever, doesn't matter. Anyways, announcements for next week. So next week, I will not be here. There will be nothing next week because I will be in the Caribbean on a cruise ship. I'll be going on a audiobooks at sea cruise. So it'll be part work and part fun. We'll be in the Caribbean, right? Lots of workshops, lots of small sessions with coaches, and people to help us just work on our craft. And it'll be super awesome. Really good networking opportunity too. So I'm super excited about that. But as a result, next week there will be no stream. So I will resume the following, hopefully Monday, with a Macabre Monday where we dip into some short horror stories, followed by a Whiskey Wednesday again, where we read another chapter of a author's story like we just did on the live stream. So can't wait for that one. Stay tuned for that. We have a little bit of a break, right, until then. So don't get too lonely without my narrations. You can check out an audiobook on Audible if you want. That'll keep you company. If you just really miss my voice for some weird reason. But yeah, a couple of audiobooks out right now, so you can check those out on Audible. And check out this story as well. Let me put the information here in YouTube and Twitch one more time before we go. Just in case you really like the story, you want to pick yourself up a copy, there's a link down there at the bottom where you can find out all the different places to buy it. What I think will be really cool is I think we should pass off at least the Twitch side. This will make more sense on Twitch. Let's pass you all off to an Australian streamer who I've become friends with. Fantastic streamer, very entertaining. Big fan of military history like I am. His name is Centurion. So let's hand you over to there. So let's go from an Australian author to an Australian gamer on Twitch, because it seems perfect, right? So let's do that. Let me gear that up. And then on the other side for YouTube and Instagram, looks like Instagram's finally working again. Just in time to say goodbye. I will see you later on Instagram. Thank you for joining me if you did. Sorry, it looks like it was probably pretty clunky. We'll work on that. And then on YouTube, thank you all for joining me as well. Yeah, let's roll with that. I keep missing the chat on YouTube because everything keeps flooding in there. But thank you very much for joining me there, Raul. I appreciate it. And have a good afternoon. Fantastic story. Again, pick yourself up a copy if you want one. See you later on YouTube there. Bye-bye. And then we're down to Twitch. Let's hand you off here